Hey, this is Notser, and we're looking at a Tier 5 aircraft carrier in 0.6.3. I just wanted you to see what's actually going to happen in 0.6.3, if it obviously stays in the patch. We don't know for certain. These are all up in the air, and I want to get your opinion. Now, what is going on? At Tiers 4 and 5, currently, there are a lot of people who are very skilled with aircraft carriers. They have commanders that are high skill cap, maybe 10, 15, 19 skill commander, and they're going down and they're absolutely obliterating people at this tier. And that's not fun. That's not fun to have no chance because the person is either really good or they have an extreme advantage in captain skills or ship skills or whatever. But this isn't fun either. It would be one thing if automatic drop actually felt like you were doing something. But you're not. You really aren't doing anything. It is just so... It is so frustrating how pathetic automatic drop is compared to manual. Let's just talk about that. Manual drop, for those who don't know, press Alt. Whenever you press Alt, you are given an option to drop in a straight line. You could manipulate it just as you do with automatic, but in reality, it would just be better if you drew that line from another point of view, another straight line. And it works out pretty well that way. And I think it's fair. I think manual drop is fair. Maybe not as fair as you would like it to be, but it is not easy to drop manually. A lot of what makes an aircraft more effective or less effective is the speed, the ability for it to drop, the amount of squadrons you might have. Maybe you have 2 torpedo squadrons. That is extremely difficult to deal with sometimes. It was especially difficult when it was high-tier American. You can't have that. So, yeah. On the public test server, this is how you would play aircraft carriers. You would go to a target, you would set them as a target, you would have a limited squadron rearm. I mean, my torpedo attacked and I'm already down to 3. So I don't really have a lot of options to fix this, right? So it feels kind of crappy. It feels like I am punished because I want to participate in the game like tiers 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Is it wrong that there are players who incessantly seal club? Yes. But what's the incentive for them to not? And aren't they playing the game? Don't you want people to play the game, populate the regions, and give them a chance? Why is there such a huge gap between the most skilled and the least skilled? That's probably the better question you could ask yourself. Because if we look at this in what is the purpose of a tier 4 and a tier 5 aircraft versus a tier 6? It's probably to teach you how to play the game. I don't think it takes that long to learn how to play the game with an automatic point of view. I think that's very easy, quite honestly. I think it's a waste of time to make it 2 tiers. So what's the real reason? Seal clubbing. That's the real reason. They just don't want people who have a clear advantage because there's not enough AA protection or the players are not aware of how to play. They don't want them to run rampant over these players. They are willing to sacrifice the aircraft carrier population for the sake of the other 3 class populations. Now, maybe they have a solution coming down the road, right? Maybe their solution is genius, and it's going to fix everything with aircraft carriers. All right. Why not just wait? You guys have waited so long. Why not just wait for that new drop mechanic to come in that feels completely balanced and not unfair at all? Why are we taking away Alt? It's not going to help people who are trying to learn aircraft carriers. It's going to push it off to tier 6. Oh, great. They can compete with tier 7 aircraft carrier commanders and people who actually have played the game. And for the outliers, the 10, 20% who actually have a super skilled commander, the rest suffer. They're going to have a tougher time because people are going to have a higher skill commander. They're going to be more comfortable with the line of the ship, or the AA is more developed. You really need to try and give people the chance to learn in the fairest or the simplest environment, and that is tier 4 and 5. That is absolutely tier 4 and 5. And it is just really unfortunate that they are so afraid of the possibility that a survey suggests that the aircraft carrier was doing damage to me and I felt like I couldn't do anything. That is the main cause of this, in my opinion, versus all the other issues. Aircraft carriers have the lowest population in the game, something like 5%, right? Do we really want to discourage anyone from picking up the aircraft carrier? And some of you might be saying, well, it's so hard to pick up because you have to use manual. Okay, then let's build into a system where maybe you don't take an aircraft carrier out without practicing it. Give them a chance. Do something to improve their knowledge of the game in some regard. Maybe when you buy a ship, you have to prove that you know what the ship is doing. Some sort of video that would describe in detail, maybe this is, it has HE, it has AP. The AP, for instance, for the British cruisers is slightly different than other AP, but you wouldn't really know that unless you did some research. How about there be a video or information that quickly comes on the screen, maybe the load screen, maybe that you can access this while you're in-game, and it shows you a good example of what you're looking to do, or what you're given as an opportunity with that particular ship. Japanese, they have torpedoes, long-range torpedoes, but they have to show their butt. I don't know why we have to sacrifice the early tier learning environment so that a couple people aren't SEAL clubbing. Does it suck? Absolutely. But it's going to suck more for people to be uninformed trying to take these out and not really falling in love with them. There's really nothing to fall in love with that automatic drop. It's really boring. And I know some people will say, well, it's not boring for me. I like that gameplay. Okay, I'm sorry you like that gameplay, because you're missing out. Manual drop is really fun. Manual drop allows you to do things that automatic just won't do. For instance, attacking destroyers in smoke. Or even cruisers for that matter. I think, don't the British cruisers have it at tier 5 or tier 6? Either way, there's going to be instances where a tier 5 aircraft carrier has to go up against a tier 6 aircraft carrier who is using manual. There could also be SEAL clubbers who, they just want to screw aircraft carriers. They're going to kill every aircraft carrier. Go the anti-air build. Yeah, that's a good build to really encourage people to play the class. That's one of the worst builds in the game, and I don't know why they tried to encourage it. Going anti-air really ruins the experience, in my opinion, of an aircraft carrier. So I would just prefer if Wargaming would not do this change. Instead, do something a little less heavy-handed. Maybe just try to make sure that when you SEAL Club, you aren't rewarded as much. Maybe to encourage players to play as a team. Just inform players when they're trying to pick a ship or whatever, what its capabilities of. I just maybe require that they play a couple co-op games before they can take their aircraft carrier out. I don't know. This just seems extreme. Locking out, and some people would say, well, it's extreme because they want to test whether this is viable, whether this could be the direction that the game goes. They could take manual out completely, and then they could balance around the engagement ranges of automatic. And I would be like, I really hope automatic isn't the only solution for aircraft carriers, because it's a terrible solution. It's equivalent to AA guns, playing the game with AA guns. It really is. That control click, selecting an aircraft, or even secondaries. If secondaries were the only way to play the game, that would be terrible. There would be no skill there. And that's what it feels like. There's just no skill for a player to really show off or help their team. And that's my rant on this tier 4 and 5. I get it. Notser, I don't like dying to them. It's really hard. We don't have AA protection. I get it. But I just don't think this is the right solution for that. I just don't think that's the right solution for this. And yeah, there's a huge gap between a good aircraft carrier and a bad aircraft carrier. That's probably the biggest issue, is that a player who isn't particularly good at the game trying to play the aircraft carrier, you're giving up a lot compared to what a potentially skilled aircraft carrier can do. I wish Wargaming would say what they're doing so we can get a picture, so I can't critique in a vacuum. I know that's what they want me to do. They want me to say, without anything influencing it, whether Tier 4 and Tier 5 without automatic is a good thing. And I'm not going to do that because aircraft carriers suck outside of Tier 4 and Tier 5. This does not fix the core issue with the aircraft carrier. This does nothing with the aircraft carrier. It's a waste of time, as far as I'm concerned. They might as well not do anything and just really fix them. I appreciate the UI changes. That is something that they could put in. It's a global change. It's not like you're getting better or getting worse. It's just making it more comfortable. But taking out 50%, over 50% of the gameplay for the sake of anti-seal clubbing is ridiculous. It just is. It's too soft. It's just trying to placate a little bit too much to people feeling uncomfortable, and you're going to feel uncomfortable. Instead, make the game itself feel better. Really address the core issues with aircraft carriers. What are they? Well, the UI is one. Obviously, it's a little awkward. When you go against a target with good AA, you feel completely worthless. When you go against a target with bad AA, you almost feel invincible. When you're top tier, if you're a tier above your opposition, you feel you can do anything. If you're one tier lower, it's really difficult to feel like you can do anything against any battleship or anything like that. It's a really big issue with aircraft carriers. Really big issue. So maybe that's the first thing they should have addressed, trying to squeeze down the aircraft carrier's ceiling and the floor so it all plays a little bit closer to what you would expect. I can't think of a single class in the game where the ceiling is so high and the floor is so low. I really can't. And they're going to say, oh, well, automatic is it? Automatic is like taking away all of the ceilings, all the floors, and there's just one level. There's no room to improve as a player. There's no room to perform better. You can't select a different ammo type. You can't change your loadout to compensate for what you're going up against. So it's sort of a blind pull. There's really nothing that you can do as an American to have a loadout that is balanced compared to the Japanese. The Japanese are just a better class of carrier globally. And that's an issue. That's a core issue. That's a core issue. And if I don't think that's a core issue, I'm kind of shocked that they want to address the automatic drop versus manual drop, which we're seeing right here. It's just not fun. This Königsberg is doing a great job. I, as the American, can't really do anything. I don't have any potential anti-air fighters. If I did, I would drop one of my squadrons so I'd just be weaker. Or I would go dive bomber, and dive bomber is not fun at all. Most people who've played as dive bombers know it's not fun. They kind of suck. They kind of suck because you're rolling a dice and you're hoping that the bomb will land on the target. Unlike the torpedoes, where you can set up a nice attack, the torpedoes will go in the water, the enemy has a chance to dodge out of the way or try and stall you. That's not really what you do with dive bombers. Dive bombers, at least for me when I'm playing against them, I'm just hoping he's going to miss. I'm going to try and get at that perpendicular axis where he's got to drop with the least amount of window on my target, but I'm not going to do anything else other than that. Not a thing. There's nothing else I can do. Now, my team, the Königsberg, has done a great job. And I think I'm actually showing off, yeah. So this is another thing that I was talking about in the stream. What if they made aircraft carriers play more from this point of view, not so much pulled back where you're really not doing anything? If they want to put skill into the game and make it more obvious how you control it, maybe you can control your units and improve their accuracy from that point of view, where you've got, maybe the flax incoming and you can change the position of your aircraft to improve their chances. it would definitely look more impressive to me. This is something that really RTSs, they sort of avoid doing this, getting in the unit, so to say, to control the unit. And I think they could totally do that. And I'm just testing to see what the point of view feels like. It's a little awkward, but I can see sort of the silhouette of the aircraft carrier and noticing that it fits inside my bomb drop. But, on the approach, we could see the AA coming at us, and I could adjust it in a small, I don't want to say quick time event, but some sort of improvement in accuracy, just like maybe you're adjusting your torpedo launchers or you're adjusting your main battery. Whatever the case, this is cool. This is really cool to see the bombs drop, land on the target, see that point of view, come back to the aircraft carrier. This is really drawn back. Really drawn back. And I don't know that it says cool. I don't know. And I was like, Zooey ho, careful. But they take out the target. So that was my rant on tiers 4 and 5. I hope that this told you everything you need to know. You don't need to play it. That's exactly what it feels like, just controlling it with automatic. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and that Königsberg did a great job. And I'll catch you next time.